When you hear the name Gucci, you probably think of luxury and high fashion. Maybe you think of an empire that took the fashion world by storm from the early 1900s, or a company whose name is on the lips of millions to this day. But what happens when multiple lawsuits, tax evasion, and the desire for expansion brings the glorious empire to ruins? Well, just like its luxury counterparts Versace and Prada, what began as a humble rise from rags to riches has turned into a gruesome existence. Behind Gucci's glamorous storefronts lie a far more twisted story, one that involves betrayal, bitter family feuds, fraud, and even murder. Gucci's true legacy isn't just leather and gold, it's a history haunted by dark secrets. Today we uncover how Gucci became the opposite of luxury, a brand shaped by scandalous sins and insane family rivalries. Let's jump right in. All successful businesses begin with a man with a vision, and the Gucci brand was clearly no exception. In this case, Guccio Gucci was the man, born and raised in Florence, Italy. His roots trailed back to honest work as he grew up helping out at his parents' straw hat shop. However, the family business soon went bankrupt, and an 18-year-old Gucci realized he had to find his way in life. This was when he found a job at the opulent Hotel Savoy. Here, something stood out to him: the people's luggages. As the rich patrons walked in and out of those doors, Gucci couldn't help but notice the way they wore expensive leather and how glamorous it made them look. Not too long after, when Gucci began to work with a train station called Wagenlitz, he realized these leather goods weren't just beautiful. They were also functional, and the elites were willing to drop large bucks on them. That was when it struck him. He had to open a leather goods store. 1921 came around, and Guccio Gucci opened a small leather shop in Florence, Italy. His vision was simple yet powerful: to craft refined, high-quality leather products that catered to an elite clientele. His desire to create luxury expanded to his sons, who shared the same desire with him. As the store gained huge success, Guccio's sons, Aldo, Vasco, and Rodolfo joined the family business, making it a true dynasty. But the family's unity wouldn't last. Aldo Gucci, often credited for bringing Gucci into the global market, was ambitious. He had a vision to make Gucci a global powerhouse and believed his way was the only way. And so within the family, this ambition quickly began to cause friction, especially between Aldo and his brothers. While Aldo saw himself as the brand's leader, his brothers, particularly Rodolfo, were increasingly resentful of his dominance. Each brother believed they had the right to control Gucci's destiny. This growing rivalry sowed the bitter seeds of a feud that would only grow with time. What was once a family united by a transgenerational vision was slowly torn apart by personal ambition, envy, and greed. Aldo's power grabs, though effective in expanding Gucci's reach, were the first cracks in the family's seemingly indestructible empire. You know how they say, the first generation creates it, the second expands it, and the third destroys it? This couldn't have been more true for the Gucci family, whose third generation began in the 1980s. This fragile era saw the birth of Maurizio Gucci, Guccio's grandson, who was one of the last heirs to lead the Gucci brand. His reign would mark a turning point both for Gucci and the family. Maurizio was very ambitious in his own right. He wanted to reclaim Gucci's heritage and restore its image. But his plans came at a high price. Just like his predecessors, Maurizio inherited fierce ambition and drive from his grandfather Guccio, but skipped his excellent management skills. Maurizio's management style was unconventional, and his risky financial decisions stretched Gucci's resources. In his pursuit of a vision he felt would elevate the Gucci brand, Maurizio took out massive loans and launched a series of ill-fated projects. Maurizio's reckless spending in the attempt to resurrect the family business left Gucci in financial turmoil. He alienated both shareholders and his family, especially his uncle Aldo Gucci, who felt Maurizio was ruining what he had built. The feud between Maurizio and Aldo escalated in the boardroom and even in the media, with both sides accusing each other of greed and incompetence. Maurizio's wild visions became his obsession, and his obsession eventually became his downfall. This period was a low point for Gucci, with the brand drowning in financial instability and public scandal. Maurizio's poorly structured decisions ultimately led him to sell his stake in Gucci to Investcorp, marking the end of the Gucci family's control over the brand. One would think that fiery feuds are normal occurrences in every family. But can a house divided against itself stand? Well, beyond mere disagreements, Gucci's legacy is also tainted by fraud and betrayal. In January 1986, Aldo Gucci was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison for tax evasion of over $7 million to the American government. He was 81 years old at the time of sentencing, but that did very little to make observers sympathetic of his plight. Aldo, once celebrated as the man who brought Gucci to America, the man who in his own right built Gucci, was involved in a highly publicized tax scandal, effectively tearing down the facade of upright business dealings and craftsmanship that had been the brand's watchword for decades. What made this betrayal even darker, though, was that the accusation came from Aldo's own son, Paolo Gucci. Paolo had grown up watching his father expand the Gucci empire, but he too was ambitious and wanted a piece of the Gucci legacy. When Aldo refused to give Paolo the power he wanted, Paolo retaliated by exposing his father's financial indiscretions to the authorities. This wasn't just a betrayal, it was an act of sabotage within the family, showing just how deep the Gucci family feud, power struggle, and greed ran. And this had farther-reaching consequences than Aldo or even Paolo could ever imagine. Aldo's imprisonment damaged the family's reputation, casting a shadow over Gucci's overall image. The brand, once a symbol of Italian sophistication, was now associated with fraud and betrayal. But the drama didn't stop here. The family members continued their battles in court, airing their dirty laundry for all to see. Lawsuits and media scrutiny piled up as each member tried to claw their way to the top, no matter the cost. However, none of Gucci's scandals could prepare the world for what happened next: the shocking murder of Maurizio Gucci. In 1995, Maurizio was shot dead outside his office in Milan. The tragedy gripped the world, and soon the investigation would reveal a horrifying truth. Authorities eventually accused Patrizia Reggiani, Maurizio's ex-wife, of masterminding his assassination. Their marriage had ended in a bitter divorce, with Patrizia feeling betrayed, abandoned, and most importantly, cheated out of a life of opulence. She believed that Maurizio's sale of his stake in Gucci had robbed her of her right to luxury and power, and her resentment grew into a twisted desire for revenge. Dubbed the Black Widow by the press, Patrizia was convicted and sentenced for her role in the murder, shocking a world that could hardly believe such evil could be connected to a seemingly respectable luxury brand. This crime was the final nail in the coffin for the Gucci family as far as control over their brand was concerned. The scandal of murder within the Gucci empire set a persistently eerie shadow over the brand. In the eyes of many, Gucci was no longer a symbol of pure luxury, but a brand forever marked by greed, betrayal, and blood. With Maurizio's murder and the conviction of Patrizia Reggiani, the Gucci family was effectively removed from the empire they had built. But while the family faded from the brand story, it was far from over for Gucci itself. Under new corporate ownership, Gucci experienced a rebirth, re-establishing itself as a powerhouse in high fashion. New leadership brought on creative visionaries like Tom Ford, whose designs would help reshape Gucci's image. As Ford's provocative and glamorous collections hit the runway, Gucci became the epitome of luxury once more. But behind the slick marketing and high-profile red carpet appearances, Gucci remained a brand haunted by its past. For many, the Gucci name still carried echoes of betrayal and scandal. This reborn Gucci wasn't free from its dark history, it was thriving because of it. Ultimately, the legacy of betrayal, greed, and deceit has become part of the brand's identity. Today, Gucci may represent luxury, but it is a luxury forged in shadows and sealed by the blood of those who brought it to the world. Gucci is the opposite of luxury, not because it lacks sophistication, but because its beauty masks a haunting story that cannot be erased. In the end, Gucci's history forces us to ask, what is the true cost of luxury? Can a brand that has been shaped by fraud, feuds, and murder ever truly represent purity? And most importantly, what does Gucci think about how his children ran his empire? Is Gucci's allure in its darkness and its appeal in the very scandals that stain its legacy? One will begin to wonder if all other fashion brands are hiding the same form of dark history, or even worse. Gucci has become more than just a fashion label. It's a symbol of ambition's dark side. Lacing every Gucci item is a story of a family's rise and fall, of betrayal and greed, of love turned to hatred and brotherhood turned to war. It's a reminder that even in the world of high fashion, the path to success can be paved with broken loyalties and shattered lives. The dark and complex history of the Gucci family has gained public acclaim, having inspired a book and a movie. In 2001, journalist and author Sarah Gay Forden published The House of Gucci, a non-fiction account of the rise of the Gucci family dynasty, their incredible success, and the internal family conflicts that would lead to the downfall of their empire. The book provides an in-depth look at the Gucci brand, including founder Guccio Gucci's original vision and the dramatic family feuds and personal struggles, particularly focusing on Maurizio Gucci's murder in 1995, orchestrated by his ex-wife, Patrizia Reggiani. 2 decades later in 2021, House of Gucci was adapted into a major film directed by Ridley Scott. It stars Lady Gaga as Patrizia Reggiani and Adam Driver as Maurizio Gucci, chronicling their turbulent relationship and the events that led up to Maurizio's assassination. Both the book and movie have served to reignite public fascination with Gucci's history, highlighting how the brand's legacy is intertwined with scandal and controversy. The story in its entirety gives a stern warning to all fashion houses and emerging business owners alike, but it has done very little to steer many ever-greedy moguls away from their sins. We will delve more into this in future videos. Anyway, do you think Gucci could have avoided its downfall? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, kindly consider subscribing, liking, sharing, and smashing the notification bell so you get pinged each time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.